Thank you very much for joining me for this session of Dr. Plotzker's Mind. For his last show of every calendar year, Louis Rukeyser would conclude the year's Wall Street Week series with a mini party. His invited guests would not be from the usual rotation. They would come in tuxedos, either 3 or 4, I forget how many, and they would come in part for congratulations because for the final show of every calendar year, Louis Rukeyser asked his entire panel, which must have included about a dozen different recurring guests, to give viewers their recommendations for the coming calendar year. What should they invest in? The rule was they had to submit it, and once submitted, they could no longer make any alterations or trades, even though the viewers could bail out of any bad advice that they followed. The guests in the late December episode were the people whose predictions the previous year performed the best. Those people would be asked on camera what they wanted to do for the next year, and the other 8 or so panelists would submit their recommendations in writing uh, with some mechanism for viewers to look at them. The guests from one December to the next were usually different, though not always entirely different. Some did consistently well, others never got invited back for December. The people who were on camera got congratulations. The people who didn't do as well still had their outcomes announced for millions of viewers to assess. For a long time, I have done a variant of that. I choose 12 projects to work on, not for an annual cycle, but a semi-annual cycle. Every December, I plan the first half of the year, every June, the second half of the year, and then do an inventory of how I've done. The 12 projects are distributed over 12 different categories, generally what are called SMART goals. I track my progress periodically. Some get done, some don't. But I'm never quite sure in advance which ones will and which ones won't. As my calendar year draws to a close, this exercise, or really more than an exercise, a means of focusing myself, reappears. I made a list of what I might want to do. It's 29 projects long, many more than I can do or even should do. I will pick 12, though I don't know yet which 12, and distribute them into different compartments, from things I might want to purchase to people I might like to spend more time with. My assessment of the year closing has its mixture of successes and shortcomings. My grandchildren arrived. That's not only a semi-annual goal, that's a life's goal. With a bit of travel, I got to hold each of them and plan to do that again, though probably not as a goal for the coming 6 months. Every fall, I have to withdraw money from my IRA. Some of it goes to taxation because it's a long tax deferred account. Some of it goes to charities, uh, partly to do good, partly to minimize the taxation. And some of it just goes into an ongoing account for myself. I probably spend very little of it on myself. The 2 withdrawals were made. They have not yet been completed, but I just have to confirm that they are in time to avoid a penalty at the end of the year. I always like to declutter. Things need to be decluttered. One goal was to repurpose my son's bedroom. He hasn't lived in it for decades. It is a depository for everything, not usable for anything. So I decided to tackle that. I didn't do badly. It is still not usable for anything, but a lot different than it was. I have to make decisions. What can be discarded? What needs to be transported to where he lives now? What do I want to use the space for instead? Um, Clothing has gone to charity. Some clothing and many items are things that are sentimental, awards that he won, logos of places that he's been. Gradually, I find homes for them. And there's also a good deal of recycling. I don't need any of the unopened envelopes of colleges that tried to recruit him 20 years ago. I wanted to do a second room, didn't get very far, and I wanted to upgrade my bedroom where I did well for a while and then faltered. And finally, I have so much stuff everywhere that either whoever handles my estate or if I get to it, will have to hire an agency to clean out my house and get it ready for sale. That was on the list. The best that I did was confirm that there really are entrepreneurs who will do this stuff for a fee. I don't know how high the fee is. I never called one. I don't think I really wanted it done. It's always my intent to be productive. I like to express myself. This time, the challenge was, can I write a book? And I probably can. Decided to do it as a fiction book. At last count, I had about 70,000 words, but they're kind of scattered words. They're not publishable. But it was a good effort and one that I can bring into the coming 6 months with a deadline to finish it, to edit it, to send it to a publisher. Along the way, I learned about book writing from a variety of mostly YouTube sources. There is a school of thought that you just write. Your barrier is getting started, and it doesn't matter what you write as long as you accumulate volume. and edit it later. That's the approach I took. I don't know if it's the right approach. I have shorter articles. My intent was to submit 3 to publishers. I submitted 2, both turned down or ignored or not responded to in some way. In any case, they did not appear for other people to read. It is the shots on goal that determine your ultimate success. So maybe I should have submitted more. I do plan to submit the 3rd. My physical health matters. I set weight and waist goals, which I did not reach. In fact, did not really improve on over a year ago, but I do track them. And the system for getting it done has gotten reliable. I am on the treadmill. The intensity is sufficient. I stretch on schedule. Eating could be better. Maybe the coming 6 months should regiment and track eating more than exercise, where I've kind of gotten into the swing of it. I wanted to make some day trips. I did make some day trips. I went to New York. I went to Philadelphia. I saw Elfreth's Alley. I went someplace else around Lancaster to see an exhibit that I always wanted to see. So I did okay there. I wanted to give some presentations. I got invited to give one, and I gave it. It went well. I wanted to do 2. The second invitation never came, and I didn't volunteer, so one that's half done, but through no fault of my own. So that's a rough summary of what I did. And I still have another week or so to settle on what I will do. Just as Louis Rukeyser did his annual no reconsidering what you chose project for many decades, I've been doing this long enough to know that the results I got this 6 months are not a lot different, though perhaps a little bit better than results that I've gotten in the past. It does keep me focused. I think I've had a productive year, in part for making the effort to define what I want to work on and then work on it. Thank you very much for sharing this session of Dr. Plotzker's Mind.